Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the New Horizon, watching the massive alien ships through the main screen. The vessels looked nothing like human technology. They were smooth and curved, almost like giant eggs floating in space. Blue. Lights pulsed along their surfaces in patterns that hurt to look at for too long. "Sir, they're sending another message," said Communications Officer Linda Ross. Her voice was steady, but Jake could hear the nervousness underneath. This was first contact with an alien race. Everything they did now would be remembered forever. "Put it through," Jake said. He straightened his uniform and tried to look calm. The main screen flickered and showed the face of something that definitely was not human. The alien had gray skin that looked like wet rubber. Its eyes were huge and black, taking up most of its face. When it spoke, its mouth barely moved, but the words came through the translator clearly. "Greetings, humans of the vessel New Horizon. I am Commander Zethkar of the Vortanian Empire. We come in peace to welcome you to the greater galaxy." Jake stepped forward. "Commander Zethkar, I'm Captain Jake Morrison. We're honored to meet you. We've been hoping for this day for a long time." The alien's head tilted slightly. "Yes, we know. We have been watching your species for many cycles. You are interesting." Something in the way Zethkar said interesting made Jake's skin crawl. It sounded like the way someone might describe a dangerous animal at the zoo. Dr. Lisa Grant moved to stand beside Jake. She was the ship's expert on alien life, though until today it had been mostly theory. "Commander, we'd love to learn about your civilization. Perhaps we could arrange a cultural exchange." The alien's huge eyes seemed to focus on Lisa with uncomfortable intensity. "Cultural exchange, yes. This would be valuable. But first, we must discuss safety protocols." "Safety protocols?" Jake asked. "Your species has certain habits that concern us greatly. We have observed your feeding behaviors. They are most disturbing." Lisa frowned. "Our feeding behaviors? You mean how we eat?" Several other aliens appeared on the screen behind Zethkar. They were different species, Jake realized. One looked like a walking stick insect, but was covered in blue fur. Another had tentacles where its arms should be. They all looked nervous. "Yes," Zethkar continued. "Your consumption of other living creatures. Your preference for the flesh of predators. This is most unusual and frightening." Jake and Lisa exchanged glances. "Frightening?" Jake said. "Commander, most species on our planet eat other living things. It's natural." The stick insect alien made a sound like glass breaking. The tentacled one backed away from the screen. Zethkar's gray skin seemed to get paler. "Natural," Zethkar repeated slowly. "Yes, we have studied your records. You consume the flesh of creatures that hunt other creatures. You seek out the most dangerous animals on your world and eat them." "Well, yes," Lisa said carefully. "Humans are omnivores. We eat both plants and animals. Many of our traditional foods come from predator species." The alien conference on the other ship became very loud. Jake could hear what sounded like panic in their voices, even through the translator. "Please," Zethkar said, raising one long-fingered hand, "we must speak of this no more. It is too disturbing. Instead, let us discuss your visit to our homeworld." "You're inviting us to your planet?" Jake asked. "Yes, but with strict conditions. You must consume only the nutrition we provide. Under no circumstances are you to hunt or consume any creature from our world. This is not negotiable." Lisa stepped forward. "Commander, we appreciate the invitation, but we need to understand why. You're so concerned about our diet. Are there dangerous animals on your world?" The silence that followed lasted almost a full minute. Jake could see the aliens on the screen looking at each other with what could only be described as terror. Finally, Seth Carr spoke. There are creatures on our world that have terrorized our people for thousands of years. Creatures so deadly that we have built our entire civilization around avoiding them. We call them the night crawlers. What kind of creatures? Lisa asked. We will not speak of them in detail. It is too dangerous, too frightening. These creatures are why we live in the sky cities, why we never walk the surface of our world after dark. They are the reason our people have never truly conquered our own planet. Jake felt a chill run down his spine, but not from fear. From excitement. These night crawlers, how big are they? Larger than your vehicles, faster than your aircraft, with teeth that can bite through our strongest metals and acid that can dissolve rock. And you've never found a way to fight them? Lisa asked. The alien's eyes somehow got even bigger. Fight them? No creature fights the night crawlers and lives. No creature is foolish enough to try. Jake looked at his crew. Communications Officer Linda Ross was taking notes. Engineer Tony Rodriguez was already pulling up data about the alien planet on his tablet. Marine Sergeant Chris Parker was checking, his sidearm out of habit. Commander Zethkar, Jake said slowly, we accept your invitation to visit your homeworld. We'll follow your safety protocols about food. Good, the alien said, and Jake could hear the relief in its voice. We will provide you with safe nutrition, plant-based materials that will sustain you without triggering your predatory instincts. After the communication ended, Jake gathered his senior staff in the briefing room. The mood was excited but tense. Did anyone else notice how they talked? About these night crawlers? Tony asked. Like they were some kind of gods or something. Apex predators, Lisa said, reading from her notes. Every planet has them. On Earth, we have sharks, lions, bears, crocodiles. Sounds like these night crawlers are theirs. And they've never tried to fight back? Chris asked. The Marine looked puzzled. I mean, if something's hunting your people, you hunt it back. That's basic survival. Maybe not for them, Lisa said thoughtfully. Remember, they seemed horrified that we eat predators. Maybe their species never developed hunting behaviors. Jake leaned back in his chair. So we're about to visit a planet where an entire alien civilization lives in fear of some big scary monsters. Monsters they've never tried to fight, Tony added. Monsters they consider so dangerous, they won't even talk about them in detail. Linda said. Chris grinned. Monsters that are probably really tasty if you cook them right. Everyone stared at him. What? He said. I'm just saying, back home we eat everything that tries to eat us. Alligators, sharks, bears, if you can catch them. How different could these night crawlers be? Dr. Grant made a note on her tablet. I think we're about to find out just how different. Humans are from the rest of the galaxy. 2 days later, the New Horizon followed the alien fleet toward their homeworld. Jake stood on the bridge, watching the planet grow larger on the screen. It looked beautiful from space, with blue oceans and green continents. But as they got closer, he could see something strange. All the cities were floating in the sky. My God, Linda whispered. They really do live in the clouds. The cities were held up by some kind of energy field, connected to each other by bridges of light. The planet's surface was green and wild, with no signs of civilization except for a few small structures that looked like military bases. Captain, came Zethkar's voice over the communication system. Prepare for docking at Sky City 7. Remember, you must not leave the city platform under any circumstances. The surface belongs to them. Jake looked at his crew and smiled. This is going to be interesting. The human shuttle touched down on the landing platform of Sky City 7 with a soft hiss. Captain Jake Morrison looked out the window at the alien city floating 3 miles above the planet's surface. The buildings were made of some kind of crystal that glowed softly in the afternoon light. Aliens walked along the streets, but they all moved quickly and kept looking down at the ground far below. "Welcome to our world," said Ambassador Krillinox as the humans stepped off their shuttle. The alien was tall and thin, with 4 arms and skin that changed colors when he spoke. "Please, follow me to your quarters. Do not approach the edge of the platform." Dr. Lisa Grant noticed how all the aliens stayed far from the edge of the floating city. "Ambassador, why doesn't anyone go near the sides?" Krillinox's skin turned a dark purple color. "The edges are dangerous. Sometimes they come up from below." Marine. Sergeant Chris Parker looked over the side of the platform. The ground was so far down, it looked like a green carpet. "What comes up from below?" "We do not speak of them during daylight hours," Krillinox said quickly. "It is bad luck. Come, you must be hungry." The aliens led them to a large building in the center of the city. Inside, a feast was waiting. The tables were covered with fruits and vegetables that looked almost like earth food, but the colors were wrong. Purple apples, blue corn, green. "Oranges. This is safe nutrition for your species," said Science Officer Valtar, a squat alien with 6 eyes. "We have studied your biology. These plants will give you energy without triggering your ... hunting responses." Chef Bobby Martinez picked up one of the purple apples and sniffed it. "It smells okay," he said to Jake. "Might taste good too." "Please eat," Krillinox urged. "You must maintain your strength. But remember, you cannot hunt anything on our world. Promise me this." "We promise," Jake said, though he noticed Chris Parker didn't say anything. As they ate, more aliens gathered to watch them. They whispered among themselves and pointed at the humans' teeth. Lisa realized they were staring at the humans' canine teeth, the sharp ones meant for tearing meat. "Your teeth," said an alien child who looked like a purple rabbit. "They are for killing?" "For eating," Lisa said gently. "Both plants and meat." The child's parent quickly pulled it away, making frightened noises. After dinner, the aliens showed them to their rooms. The building was beautiful, with walls that glowed soft colors and beds that floated in the air. But Jake noticed something strange. All the windows had thick shutters, and there were heavy bars across them. "Why are the windows barred?" he asked Krillinox. "For protection," the alien said. "When darkness comes, we seal our cities. Nothing gets in or out until sunrise." That night, Jake couldn't sleep. The alien food sat heavy in his stomach, and he kept thinking about the way Krillinox's skin changed colors when he was scared. Around midnight, he heard a sound from outside. A long, low howl. It seemed to come from everywhere at once. Jake went to the window and carefully opened one of the shutters. The planet's surface was dark, except for 2 moons that cast silver light on the forests below. As he watched, something moved between the trees. Something big. The howl came again, and this time Jake saw where it came from. A creature the size of a school bus stepped into a clearing. It had 6 legs, each one ending in claws as long as baseball bats. Its skin looked like black armor, and tentacles writhed around its head where a mouth should be. When it howled, Jake could see rows of teeth inside the tentacles. "Nightcrawler," he whispered. A hand touched his shoulder, and he jumped. It was Chris Parker. "Couldn't sleep either?" Chris asked, looking out the window. "Look at that thing," Jake said. Chris whistled softly. "Big guy, isn't he? Probably weighs about as much as a tank." "And you're thinking what I think you're thinking?" Chris grinned. "I'm thinking that back home, something that big would feed a lot of people. I'm thinking the aliens never learned to fight back because they never had to. They just ran away and hid." "Chris, we promised we wouldn't hunt anything." "I know, but what if we didn't hunt it? What if it tried to hunt us?" The next morning, Bobby Martinez had a problem. During breakfast, he accidentally knocked over the container holding their food supplies. It crashed to the floor and broke open, spilling the alien fruits and vegetables everywhere. Most of the food was ruined. "Oh no," said Veltar, his 6 eyes wide with panic. "This is terrible. The next supply delivery is not for 3 days. Can't you just get more from the surface?" Bobby asked. Every alien in the room went silent. Krillinox's skin turned white. "The surface?" Veltar whispered. "No one goes to the surface, especially not for food." "Why not?" Lieutenant Amy Foster asked. "There must be edible plants down there." "There are," Krillinox said slowly, "but the surface belongs to them. During the day they sleep, but they are light sleepers. Any sound, any movement, and they wake up. And when they wake up, they hunt," Chris finished. "Yes," the alien said. "They hunt." Bobby looked at the ruined food on the floor. His stomach was already growling. The alien food wasn't very filling, and now they barely had enough for one meal. "Captain," Bobby said to Jake, "I need to go hunting." "Bobby, we promised ... "No, sir. You promised we wouldn't hunt their animals. But what if their animals try to hunt us? What if we're just defending ourselves?" Jake looked around the room full of terrified aliens. "Bobby, these creatures sound extremely dangerous. So are sharks, sir. So are bears. So are alligators. We eat those too." Amy Foster stepped forward. "I'll go with him, Captain. Someone needs to watch his back." "This is madness," Krillinox said. "No creature survives an encounter with the night crawlers. They are death itself." "Maybe," Chris said. "Or maybe they're just big, mean animals that nobody ever fought back against." 2 hours later, Bobby and Amy stood at the edge of the floating city platform. Bobby had his knives and a portable cooking kit. Amy had her rifle and enough ammunition to fight a small war. Below them, the forest looked peaceful and quiet. "Last chance to change your mind," Amy said. "I'm hungry," Bobby replied. "And I've been thinking about what that thing would taste like all morning." They used the emergency cables to rappel down to the surface. The forest was beautiful, with trees that looked like giant flowers and grass that felt like silk under their feet. It was also completely silent. "They're sleeping," Amy whispered. "Just like the aliens said." They moved carefully through the trees, looking for signs of the night crawlers. It didn't take long. They found tracks in the soft earth, each print as big as a dinner plate. The tracks led to a cave in a hillside. "There," Bobby pointed. "They're in there." "How do you want to do this?" Amy asked, checking her rifle. "Same way my grandfather hunted bears. We make noise, we get them mad, and when they come out, you shoot them. And if they're too tough for bullets..." Bobby smiled and pulled out his biggest knife. "Then we do it the old-fashioned way." They found a good position behind some rocks about 50 yards from the cave. Amy set up her rifle while Bobby banged 2 metal pots together. The sound echoed through the forest like thunder. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ground started to shake. The night crawler that came out of the cave was even bigger than the one Jake had seen from the window. Its black armor gleamed in the sunlight, and its tentacles writhed as it looked around for the source of the noise. "Holy cow," Amy breathed. "That thing's huge." "Yeah," Bobby said, licking his lips. "Think how many steaks we could get from it." The night crawler saw them and let out a roar that shook leaves from the trees. It charged toward them, moving faster than something that big had any right to move. Amy fired 3 quick shots. The bullets hit the creature's armor and bounced off like raindrops. "Armor's too thick," she called out. "Try for the eyes," Bobby shouted, pulling out his knife. Amy adjusted her aim and fired again. This time, the bullet found its mark. The night crawler screamed and stumbled, black blood pouring from its wounded eye. Bobby ran forward, dodging the creature's massive claws. He jumped onto its back and drove his knife between two armor plates. The blade went deep and more black. Blood flowed. The night crawler spun around, trying to throw Bobby off, but he held on tight and kept stabbing. Amy kept shooting, aiming for the gaps in the armor that Bobby's attacks had revealed. After 5 minutes of fighting, the massive creature crashed to the ground. Dead Bobby stood on top of it, breathing hard and covered in black blood. Amy, call the captain. Tell him dinner's ready. Far above them, every alien in Sky City 7 watched through telescopes and sensors as two humans did the impossible. They had killed a night crawler and were now cutting it up for food. Krillinox, skin cycled through every color in his emotional spectrum. This is not possible, he whispered. This cannot be happening. But it was happening. And the smell of cooking night crawler meat was already starting to drift up from the surface. The smell of cooking night crawler meat drifted up from the forest below like a nightmare made real. Every alien in Sky City 7 pressed against their windows, watching in complete horror as Chef Bobby Martinez seasoned and grilled pieces of their deadliest predator over an open fire. Ambassador Krillinox stood in the city's command center, his skin cycling through colors so fast it hurt to look at him. This is impossible, he kept repeating. They killed it. They actually killed it. Science Officer Veltar was running calculations on his computer with all 6 eyes focused on the screen. The creature was adult-sized, fully armored. It should have been unstoppable. But they stopped it, whispered Commander Zethkar, who had arrived from the orbital station an hour ago. And now they are eating it. Through the telescopes, they could see Bobby and Amy sitting around their campfire, laughing and talking as they ate pieces of grilled night crawler. Bobby was even making notes in what looked like a recipe book. Send emergency signals to all cities, Krillinox ordered. Code red alert. The humans have become active predators. Within minutes, every floating city on the planet was buzzing with panic. Emergency broadcasts flooded the communication networks. The message was the same everywhere. The visitors from space were eating night crawlers. Prophet Zarnath, the planet's most important religious leader, appeared on every screen in the city. He was old, and his tentacles shook as he spoke. My people, he said, his voice filled with terror, we face a horror beyond our worst nightmares. The visitors are not just predators. They are devourers of nightmares themselves. They consume the unconquerable darkness. In the human quarters, Captain Jake Morrison was trying to understand what was happening. Every alien he met ran away when they saw him. The few who would talk only said things like meat-eaters and nightmare devourers before hurrying away. Dr. Lisa Grant was in her room, trying to have a conversation with alien scientist Zyphara through the communication system. Zyphara was hiding in her laboratory and refused to meet face-to-face. Dr. Grant, Zyphara said, her voice shaking, your species is not what we thought. We believed you were simply primitive omnivores. We did not understand the true nature of your predation. What do you mean? Lisa asked. Your people hunt creatures that hunt others. On our world, we eat plants. When we must eat animals, we choose small, harmless ones. Creatures that eat grass and hide from danger. But you seek out the hunters. Well, yes. Predator meat often tastes better. It's more nutritious, too. Lisa heard what sounded like Zyphara fainting. Meanwhile, engineer Tony Rodriguez and pilot Kate Sullivan had joined Bobby and Amy on the surface. They were fascinated by the night crawler's body and were taking it apart to study its anatomy. Look at these claws, Tony said, measuring one with his tools. 6 inches long and sharp. As razors. These things are built for killing. The armor plating is incredible, too, Kate added. No wonder the aliens were scared of them. But the weak points are obvious once you know what to look for. Bobby was cutting more steaks from the creature's flank. The meat's actually pretty. Good, he said. Tastes like a cross between beef and lobster. A little tough, but nothing a good marinade couldn't fix. You know what I'm thinking? Kate said, looking around at the forest. These things probably have territories. If we cleared out a few more, the aliens could use this land for farming. Or we could set up a ranch, Tony suggested. Farm these things for meat. I bet they breed pretty fast to maintain a population this size. Above them, the aliens watched in growing horror as the humans discussed turning their most feared predators into livestock. General Vecmer, commander of the planets, military, called an emergency meeting of all city leaders. The meeting room was filled with aliens from dozens of different species, all talking at once in panicked voices. The humans must be removed, General Vecmer announced. They represent an existential threat to our way of life. How? Asked Mayor Velcon of Sky City 3. They killed a night crawler with simple weapons. What if they decide we look tasty too? They are carnivores, added Council Leader Mortef. Who knows what they might consume next? Our livestock? Our children? Us? The room erupted in fearful chatter. Some aliens called for immediate evacuation of the planet. Others wanted to surrender to the humans before they turned hostile. A few suggested offering tribute in exchange for protection. Please, everyone calm down, came a voice from the communication system. It was Dr. Grant, trying to join the meeting remotely. Every alien in the room went silent. Dr. Grant, General Vecmer said carefully, we are discussing the ... situation. I know you're scared, Lisa said, but I want to explain something about human culture. We don't hunt thinking beings. We have strict rules about what we eat and what we don't eat. Rules? Prophet Zaraneth asked. What rules could contain creatures that devour nightmares? We only eat non-intelligent animals. We've never eaten another sapient species, and we never will. You're completely safe from us. But the night crawlers are animals, Lisa finished. Dangerous animals, yes, but just animals. On Earth, we've domesticated wolves, we've hunted sharks, we've even eaten creatures that could kill us easily if we weren't careful. The silence that followed lasted for almost 5 minutes. Finally, Zephyra spoke. Dr. Grant, I have studied your species' history. You have eliminated dangerous predators from your world. Completely wiped out some species. Some, yes. Usually, when they threatened our settlements or livestock. The night crawlers threaten our settlements. Then maybe we can help you with that problem. Another long silence. You would hunt them for us? General Vecmer asked. We could teach you to. Hunt them yourselves, Lisa offered. Show you their weak points, how to fight them effectively. The panic in the room shifted to something else. Hope, maybe, mixed with disbelief. Down on the surface, Bobby was finishing his meal when his communication device buzzed. It was Captain Morrison. Bobby, how's dinner? Not bad, Captain. A little gamey, but good flavor. Why? The aliens want to know if we can kill more of these things. Bobby looked around at the forest, then at the caves where more night crawlers were probably sleeping. How many more? All of them. Bobby grinned. Tell them to send down some refrigeration units. We're gonna need storage space. That evening, as the sun set over the alien world, something unprecedented happened. For the first time in thousands of years, aliens came to the surface after dark. A small group of volunteers, led by Zephyra, rappelled down from Sky City 7 to watch the humans work. They stayed far back, hidden behind trees, but they watched. Bobby had set up a proper hunting camp with lights and cooking equipment. Tony was building traps and snares around the area. Kate was scouting for more night-crawler dens. Amy was cleaning her rifle and checking her equipment. "They make it look so easy," Zephyra whispered to her companion, a young alien named Kethlo. "Because for them, it is easy," Kethlo replied. "They are apex predators themselves. The night crawlers are just ... food." As if to prove his point, 3 night crawlers emerged from different caves, drawn by the light and noise of the human camp. Bobby calmly pointed them out to his team. "Amy, big one on the left. Tony, middle one's yours when it gets closer. Kate, take the one on the right. What about you, Bobby?" Amy asked, raising her rifle. Bobby pulled out his biggest knife and smiled. "I'm going to try something I saw in a movie once." The aliens watched in amazement as the 4 humans calmly and efficiently killed 3 night crawlers in less than 10 minutes. There was no panic, no running, no screaming. Just professional predators doing what came naturally. "Dear ancestors," Zephyra breathed, "we invited the galaxy's apex predators to dinner. And now they're having us for dessert," Kethlo added, then quickly corrected himself. "I mean having dinner with us, not eating us. They promised not to eat us." But as they watched Bobby carve up the fresh kills and start planning tomorrow's hunt, both aliens couldn't help wondering what else the humans might consider just food. Word traveled fast across the galaxy. Within 3 days, dozens of alien ships arrived at the Zarian system to witness what many called the impossible sight. Ships from the Galactic Council, independent traders, news crews, and scientific expeditions, all gathered in orbit around the planet where humans were casually eating night crawlers. Captain Jake Morrison stood in the command center of Sky City 7, watching the growing fleet through the main window. Ambassador Krillinox stood beside him, his skin a nervous purple color. "Captain," Krillinox said, "we have received formal requests from 47 different species. They all want to observe your people's hunting activities." "What kind of requests?" Jake asked. "Some are scientists who study predator-prey relationships. Others are military leaders interested in your combat techniques. But most are simply curious. They want to see beings who consume apex predators." Dr. Lisa Grant joined them, carrying a thick folder of documents. "Jake, I've been getting communication requests all morning. Every major university in the galaxy wants to study us. There are also some disturbing messages." "Disturbing how?" "Several. Species are asking if we'd be willing to visit their homeworlds. They have predator problems, too." On the surface below, Bobby Martinez was no longer cooking over a simple campfire. The aliens had provided him with a complete outdoor kitchen, complete with refrigeration units, proper grills, and even a dining area. What had started as survival hunting had turned into something much bigger. Engineer Tony Rodriguez was busy setting up what he called hunting infrastructure. He had built elevated platforms for safety, created systematic patrol routes through the forest, and even installed motion sensors around known night crawler dens. "This is incredible," said pilot Kate Sullivan, reviewing the mapping data on her tablet. "We've cleared a 12-square-mile area in just 3 days. The night crawler population in this region has dropped by 60%. And we've barely made a dent in the total population," Tony added. "This planet has thousands of these things, maybe tens of thousands." Security Chief Dan Brooks arrived from the city, carrying supplies and news. "Captain Morrison wants everyone to know we're getting official visitors tomorrow. Alien diplomats, scientists, military observers. They're all coming down to watch us." "Work. Watch us work?" Amy Foster asked, cleaning her rifle. "What are we, a zoo exhibit?" "Pretty much," Dan replied. "But the good news is they're paying us for the demonstration. The aliens are so grateful we're solving their night crawler." Problem that they're offering us a formal contract. Bobby looked up from the Nightcrawler steaks he was preparing. What kind of contract? Pest control, Dan said with a grin. They want to hire humans as professional monster hunters. The next morning, a shuttle landed near the human camp, carrying a delegation of aliens unlike any the humans had seen before. They were from different worlds, different species, all united by one thing. They lived in fear of dangerous predators. Quilseth of the Manthari delegation looked like a giant praying mantis made of silver metal. Her species communicated through musical tones that the translator turned into words. Humans, she sang, on our world we face the phantom hunters. They are made of living crystal and can pass through solid matter. They have stalked our people for millennia, killing at will. Our greatest warriors cannot touch them. Ambassador Veltar of the Beltarian Consortium was a blob-like creature that changed shape as it talked. Our homeworld burns with plasma beasts, creatures of pure energy that melt through any material we know. We have retreated to underground cities, but still they find us. As more aliens shared their stories, a pattern emerged. Every spacefaring species in the galaxy had been shaped by predators, not just influenced by them, but completely dominated by them. Their entire civilizations were built around hiding, running, and avoiding the creatures that hunted them. Dr. Susan Clark, the ship's anthropologist, took notes on everything. She had arrived that morning with the latest shuttle of observers, and was fascinated by what she was learning. This is revolutionary, she told Lisa during a break in the presentations. Every species we've met is essentially prey. They've never developed beyond defensive strategies. Except us, Lisa replied. Exactly. We're the only species that became the apex predator on our world. Everyone else learned to hide. We learned to hunt. The demonstration began at noon. The aliens gathered on a safe observation platform that Tony had built, while the humans went about their normal hunting routine. 3 night crawlers emerged from a cave system about half a mile away. To the watching aliens, this was a moment of pure terror. Several of the observers backed away from the platform's edge. Others made religious gestures or prayers. To the humans, it was Tuesday. Amy, Kate, standard formation, Bobby called out, not even looking up from the marinade he was preparing for lunch. Dan, there's a 4th one hiding behind that big tree. Tony, can you flesh it out? On it, Tony replied, activating one of his noisemakers. The watching aliens gasped as the humans calmly and efficiently killed 4 night crawlers in under 15 minutes. What amazed them most was how routine it seemed. The humans treated the deadly predators like farmers might treat chickens. Impossible, whispered Ambassador Veltar. They show no fear, no panic. How do they remain so calm? Because they're not prey, Dr. Clark explained. They're hunters. This is what they were born to do. After the demonstration, Bobby invited the brave aliens to try Nightcrawler meat. He had prepared several different dishes, each seasoned differently to account for various alien digestive systems. This is the flesh of our greatest fear, said Zifara, holding a small piece of grilled Nightcrawler on her fork. I cannot believe I am considering eating it. It's just meat, Bobby said encouragingly. Good protein, nice flavor. Think of it as conquering your fear. Zifara took a tiny bite, chewed slowly, and swallowed. Her eyes went wide. It tastes ... pleasant. How is this possible? Everything tastes better when you're not afraid of it, Bobby replied. One by one, other aliens tried the food. Not all of them could stomach it, but many found it surprisingly good. More importantly, they found the act of eating their world's apex predator to be deeply symbolic. They were consuming their fear. Speaker Quilseth's musical voice took on an excited tone. Humans, if you can do this with night crawlers, Could you help us with our phantom hunters? Probably, Jake said. Every predator has weaknesses. We'd need to study them, learn their behavior patterns, figure out the best weapons and tactics. And you would do this for us? For the right price, Jake said with a smile. We're good at what we do, but we're not a charity. The negotiations that followed were unlike anything in galactic history. Species after species lined up to request human assistance with their predator problems. The contracts being discussed involved not just hunting, but teaching alien species to fight back against creatures that had terrorized them for generations. Dr. Clark was furiously taking notes on everything. This is the birth of a new industry, she told Lisa, professional predator management. We could change the entire galaxy. Or we could just get really rich selling alien monster steaks, Bobby added, seasoning another batch of nightcrawler meat. That evening, Bobby surprised everyone by announcing he was opening a restaurant. Using supplies provided by grateful aliens, he set up a proper dining establishment right there in the forest where they had been hunting. Welcome to Bobby's Apex Diner, he said, hanging up a hand-painted sign. Home of the galaxy's finest predator. Cuisine. The first customers were the alien observers who had stayed to watch the humans work. They sat at tables made from fallen trees, eating nightcrawler steaks by the light of torches, while the creatures they had feared all their lives prowled harmlessly in the distance. This is surreal, said Ambassador Krillinox, cutting into his steak with a knife made from nightcrawler claw. A week ago, this forest was Forbidden's territory. Now it's a restaurant. Change happens fast when you stop being afraid, Kate observed. Mayor Velcon of Sky City 3 had been one of the most vocal opponents of the human presence. Now he was at Bobby's restaurant every night, bringing friends and family to experience what he called liberation dining. My children will grow up in a world where night crawlers are food, not nightmares, he told Jake over dinner. You have given us our planet back. We just showed you how to take it back, Jake replied. The courage was always there. You just needed someone to show you how to use it. As the evening continued, more aliens arrived at the restaurant. Scientists, soldiers, curious citizens who had never seen the surface of their own planet. They came to eat the flesh of their fears and to watch humans treat deadly predators like ordinary animals. Dr. Clark sat at a corner table, writing in her journal by torchlight. Around her, aliens laughed and talked as they ate creatures that had haunted their nightmares for thousands of years. In the distance, Tony's motion sensors beeped softly, tracking the movement of night crawlers that were now seen as tomorrow's dinner rather than tonight's terror. What are you writing? Lisa asked, joining her colleague. History, Dr. Clark replied. The day the galaxy learned the difference between predator and prey. The day fear became food. Above them, the floating cities of Zarian Prime glowed in the darkness. 3 months after the humans first ate a night crawler, the Galactic Council held the most important meeting in its history. Representatives from over 200 species gathered on a neutral station orbiting Centaurus Prime. The topic was simple but revolutionary: what to do about the humans. Ambassador Krillinox stood before the massive assembly, his skin cycling through calm blue colors as he spoke. Fellow beings, we face an unprecedented situation. A species has emerged that does not fear apex predators. Instead, they consume them. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some species made sounds of disbelief. Others whispered prayers. The evidence is undeniable, Krillinox continued. In 3 months, the humans have reduced the nightcrawler population on our homeworld by 70%. Our surface is now safe for the first time in recorded history. Our children play on the ground where their ancestors lived in terror. Supreme Chancellor Mothrek, leader of the Galactic Council, raised one of his forearms for silence. Ambassador Krillinox, are you proposing what I think you are proposing? Yes, Chancellor. I am formally requesting that humans be granted the first-ever license for apex predator management services. I propose we create a new classification, Official Galactic Predator Control Specialists. The assembly erupted in debate. Some species cheered. Others demanded more information. A few called for immediate evacuation of their homeworlds before the humans arrived. On the mining world of Kelthar 7, Foreman Pete Campbell was having the best day of his career. His team had just completed their first week of mining operations in over 30 years. The reason was simple. The humans had solved their burrowing acid worm problem. Pete stood in the main mining pit, watching his crews work safely in areas that had been death traps just weeks before. The acid worms that had shut down operations for decades were now neatly contained in special harvesting pens, where their valuable secretions could be collected without danger. How many worms did we process today? Pete asked his assistant, Kethvin. 247, the alien replied, checking his datapad. The humans are incredibly efficient. They make it look so easy. Mining specialist Jeff Turner emerged from one of the deeper tunnels, covered in dirt and grinning widely. Pete, we just broke through to the platinum deposits on level 7. First time anyone's been down there since the worm infestation started. Any problems? Pete asked. Found 3 queen worms. Big ones maybe 12 feet long. The local crews were terrified, but our guys just treated them like regular work hazards. We've got them penned up with the others now. Pete shook his head in amazement. 6 months ago, a single worm sighting would have shut down the entire operation. Now we're farming them for their secretions and mining deeper than ever before. Back on Earth, Dr. Lisa Grant was putting the finishing touches on her research paper. Human dietary evolution and its impact on species development was already being called the most important xenobiology study ever written. Universities across the galaxy had made it required reading. Her communication device chimed with another interview request. This one was from the Belarian Science Institute, asking her to explain how humans had become apex predators while every other known species had become prey. The answer is simple, she dictated to a recording device. Environmental pressure and dietary flexibility. While other species specialized in avoiding predators, humans learned to hunt them. This created a feedback loop of technological and social development that separated us from the rest of the galaxy. Her colleague, Dr. Susan Clark, knocked on her office door. Lisa, you need to see this. The Galactic Council just approved funding for the Human Apex Predator Management Program. They're offering us a budget of 50 billion galactic credits. 50 billion? Lisa nearly dropped her tablet. What are we supposed to do with 50 billion credits? Build an academy, Susan replied, holding up the official documents. Train human specialists in alien predator management. Establish permanent bases on dangerous worlds. Basically, become the galaxy's professional monster hunters. On Zerion Prime, Bobby Martinez stood in his new restaurant, watching the evening crowd arrive. What had started as a simple survival camp had grown into the most famous restaurant in known space. Beings from across the galaxy made pilgrimages to eat at Bobby's Apex Diner, just to say they had consumed an apex predator. Table for 4, said a nervous-looking alien that resembled a purple ostrich. We've traveled 3 star systems to try your night crawler special. Coming right up, Bobby replied, leading them to a table near the window. Outside, they could see human patrol teams moving through the forest, maintaining the safe zones that now covered most of the planet's surface. Mayor Rachel Foster arrived for her usual dinner meeting with the local alien officials. As the newly elected mayor of New Haven, the first permanent human settlement on Zerion Prime, she had been busy organizing the transition from military camp to actual city. Good evening, Mayor Foster, greeted city planner Zfara, who who had become one of the humans' closest alien allies. "How are the construction plans progressing?" "Very well," Rachel replied, sitting down at their regular table. "We've got approval to build the first mixed-species housing complex, humans and aliens living in the same buildings. It's never been done before, because no other species has ever made our world safe enough for integration," Zyphara observed. "Your people have given us possibilities we never imagined." Colonel Steve Murphy joined them, still wearing his military uniform despite being off duty. As commander of the human garrison protecting the settlement, he had been busy training local alien volunteers in basic predator defense. "We had another successful training exercise today," he reported. 20 Zarian volunteers completed basic Nightcrawler response protocols. They're not ready to hunt them yet, but they can defend themselves if necessary. "The psychological barrier is the hardest part," Rachel observed, "teaching them that night crawlers aren't unstoppable monsters." "It's generational," Zyphara agreed. "The young ones learn faster. My daughter now draws pictures of night crawlers wearing chef's hats. She thinks they exist to be food." Meanwhile, in Earth's orbital headquarters, Captain Jake Morrison was reading through the most unusual job offer in human history. The Galactic Council wanted him to lead the first joint human-alien exploration fleet, specifically tasked with investigating dangerous worlds that other species couldn't explore safely. "It's basically Star Trek, but we're the scary ones," he told Admiral Sarah Brooks during their video conference. "How so?" the Admiral asked. "Think about it. Every other species in the galaxy sees a dangerous world and thinks we can't go there. We see the same world and think, I wonder what lives there and how it tastes. And they want to weaponize that attitude? More like commercialize it. We'd be explorers, but with a focus on cataloging and managing dangerous wildlife. Probably the safest job in space, from our perspective." Admiral Brooks laughed. "Jake, you just described exploring unknown worlds full of deadly predators as the safest job in space. Well, yeah, we're humans. Deadly predators are basically our specialty." The first official contract came through the next day. The Alterian Mining Consortium needed human assistance on a world where crystalline spider creatures had made mining impossible. The spiders were immune to energy weapons and could dissolve metal with their bite. Within a week, mining engineer Tony Rodriguez had figured out that the spiders were vulnerable to sonic disruption. Within a month, the mining operation was running smoothly, and the local human team was serving crystalline spider soup in their cafeteria. 6 months later, there were human restaurants on 47 different worlds, each specializing in local apex predator cuisine. The Galactic Tourism Bureau started advertising Apex dining tours, where visitors could travel from world to world, eating creatures that had terrorized civilizations for millennia. The transformation was cultural as much as practical. Young aliens growing up on human-protected worlds didn't fear predators the way their parents had. They saw dangerous creatures as problems to be solved rather than forces of nature to be avoided. Dr. Clark documented these changes in her ongoing research. "We're witnessing the fundamental restructuring of galactic civilization," she wrote. "Fear-based cultures are becoming curiosity-based cultures, simply through exposure to human attitudes toward danger." On the first anniversary of human arrival at Zarian Prime, Ambassador Krillinox hosted a celebration dinner at Bobby's restaurant. The guest list included representatives from every species that had signed contracts for human predator management services. "1 year ago," Krillinox said, raising his glass of fermented night crawler extract, "we thought the humans were simply another primitive species. We were completely wrong." "We're not more advanced than you," Jake replied, raising his own glass. "We just have a different relationship with danger." "Yes," agreed Speaker Quilseth, her musical voice carrying overtones of amazement. "Where we see death, you see dinner. Where we see terror, you see opportunity." You have taught the galaxy that there is no such thing as an unconquerable predator. Bobby Martinez smiled as he watched the celebration from his kitchen. Tomorrow, he would be opening his 50th restaurant. This one on a world where plasma eels had prevented colonization for centuries.